Alright, so it's been a little while since we've done a video on the Evo here. It's a little bit dirty, ignore that please. I think my cars are just always dirty whenever I film a video with them. They get used, what can I say? It has been a year since I did that last video. I know it got released a little bit sooner than that. But yeah, it took me a year to pluck up the courage to finally sort out the video's audio, which was dreadful still, so I do apologise for that one. So hopefully this one will be a little bit easier to understand. It's going back for a regular service, so just fluid levels and all that kind of stuff. But also there's a few little issues that I need sorting with it. I've got another one of my little lists to sort out. I tend to sort of build everything up and then get it all sorted all at once. With these things, as you can probably tell, it's the same thing I did with the Supra. So there's a couple of real minor things that need sorting, and then something that's slightly bigger as well, and something that I'm not really sure what it's going to take to fix. It has a headlight level warning. I believe one of the headlight adjusters, like the arms, are broken for it, so that needs repairing or replacing. It has a really annoying hesitation or misfire under boost. Now, I experienced it on the track day that I did in Donington. Just steadily gotten worse from there, so now anytime I come on boost, it will kind of stutter and struggle to get up to power. So I'm going to get them to have a look at that, work out why that is. We did change the spark plugs last year. I've also changed the coil packs, neither of which seems to fix it, so I don't know whether it's an injector thing or whether it's something more sinister. I'm not really sure, we'll find out. It's got a heat shield rattle, which is really annoying somewhere around the manifold, and also a blow around there, which they discovered last year when I took it in for the service. So I'll get them to have a look at that and actually try and price up how much that's going to cost to fix. I wanted to get them to sort out the folding mirror, which wasn't opening or closing, and as you can see there, excuse the seagull, it seems to be doing that now. Not really sure why that was. And very finally, it has like a rattle in the door card, which they sorted last time and seems to have come back again, and it has a separate rattle coming from the door locks. So I'll get them to have a quick look at all of that stuff. And we're going to go to Autotorque in Aylesbury once again, just because they're the experts, they know everything with these cars, so hopefully they'll be able to diagnose and fix everything. Let's see. Alright, so this is driving the Evo now. I mean, day to day it's fine, like you don't really notice any issue, but if I put it into second now and try and get it onto boost, it's almost like kangarooing. Yeah, it's really like coming on and off boost. I'm not sure exactly what it is, whether it's a boost leak, whether it's something wrong with the ignition, whether it's something wrong with the fueling. And there's also a really annoying rattle in this door card. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it at all when I'm driving, but it's almost like a buzzing noise coming from somewhere around here, and I have noticed that if you very slightly wind down the window, it goes away. So it must be something to do with the window regulator or something within that. And there's a separate rattle coming from inside these door locks, so I tend to just naturally lock the doors and then that rattle goes away. One of those really annoying first world problems, I'd say, but yeah, something that I do want solved. I think it's quite a common thing. There you go. I think it's quite a common thing with these. When I tried to get it sorted last time, they did actually fix it briefly. It was fine for about 6 months and then started again. But I said I've got a rattle in the door card, and they were like, oh yeah, no worries. So it seems to be quite a common thing with these, I think. The dashboard rattles anyway when you're in a really high gear at low speed, say fifth at around 30 mile an hour. The dashboard has a good old rattle on it, but I think that's just partly because fifth is so long in this car that, yeah, you can really hear that rattle now, hopefully. I think that's because fifth is so long in this car, and so when you're at 30, it's just it's too high of a gear, really. It's not massively well screwed together, I'd say. So you can hear that rattle a bit clearer now. If I lock the door, that one has gone away. So we're here at Autotorque. They're just having a look over the car now and trying to figure out what the problem is. So hopefully I'll get a little bit of an update shortly to fill you in. In the meantime, I always like to try and have a little sneaky look around the car park over here, these kind of places, because there's always some interesting bits here. Now I think we had this BMW here last time, or at least a similar one. Still a big fan of this front end. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I do. Huge fan of a 300ZX, a lesser seen car nowadays, especially with all the common engine problems they seem to have. Always been a little bit tempted by a GTR as well. Yeah, they seem somewhat achievable supercar. And there's obviously a couple here. I know these guys do quite a lot on them. That's a rare sight, a little Noble there. On axle stands especially. Well, that's probably not a rare sight for a Noble. And then all sorts of interesting machinery here. Nice Audi here. We've got a fellow Supra. Interesting choice with the low level spoiler. Prefer my spoiler, but each to their own. Looks like a UK spec. You can see with these big washer jets on the lights, the glass lights themselves, the bonnet scoop. I would assume it's a UK spec. 3000 GT hiding there as well. A nice old Evo. We don't see a lot of these on the road anymore. And obviously some new ones here. And this lovely EK Civic Type R. Looks like it's had a good amount of work in there. You can see those Takata harnesses. And then a fellow Evo 10. Also, you might be able to see over there, there's loads of Saabs. Alright, so we've just had the service done now. They've had a look over everything that's wrong with the car. And yeah, I've got the sheet here of everything that's wrong with it. They've obviously done the full service and all the fluids, which is great. And then there's other advisories with the car as well to sort out. So the rattle from the door he's sorted apparently, so it's a front bolt offside front door hinge tightened with spring washer, and apparently the rattle's no longer present. I think there's actually something else wrong with the window regulator as well in that separate door rattle, but it's really temperamental, and so it's a hard one to kind of ask them to have a look at when it's sometimes there, sometimes not there. There's a near side rear toe arm ball joint has play, requires replacement. I think that was flagged on my MOT as well. So again, that's something that needs sorting. That's not something you necessarily have to come to a specialist for though, so I will get that sorted. The main one now, which I think is the reason for the hesitation, they seem to think it as well, and the general sort of misfire, is that there is a crack in the turbo housing and the manifold. It's very common, unfortunately, with these Evo 10s, and obviously requires quite a bit of a breakdown to get it sorted. What they tend to do is put a tubular manifold on instead, and then obviously there's parts of the turbo that needs replacing as well. That's probably not going to be a cheap one. They weren't able to sort it right now, obviously, because it's quite a lot of labour. But yeah, they found there's a lot of carbon and soot build up on the rear of the engine, and that's down to that. And they reckon that's very much likely the cause of this, poor running under boost. There's the front wheel arch liner trim, which they flagged last time, obviously. I do need to sort that out, but the car has spacers, which I think is how those arch liners are getting fouled and therefore damaged. The headlight warning that I have, that is an AFS sensor bracket is broken, which can be replaced. They just don't have the part. There doesn't seem to be a particular issue for me at the moment with it. I just have a warning light, which is annoying because we did manage to get rid of the AFS warning light last time, if anyone has seen that previous video. There's obviously a few bits that I need to sort out on this car. I haven't done much in the past year obviously on it. It's just been driven quite a lot actually. It's done probably 10, 12, 13,000 miles in the past year, which is quite a lot for one of these. So it's on 104,000 miles now. But it has been my daily driver and it's been great. Obviously I've used the Supra fairly sparingly apart from that big road trip, which check out if you haven't seen already. yeah, so it is getting used. I just need to spend a little bit of money sorting a few bits out on it, and then it will continue to get used well into the future. Big thank you to all the guys at Autotorque for checking it over. Obviously, I kind of want to take a car to a specialist when there's very particular things wrong with it, and stuff that may require, parts lying around or whatever it is. So yeah, obviously these guys know their stuff when it comes to Evos. So yeah, thanks again for checking it all out. Okay, so in the video world, it's actually only been a few seconds in between those two moments, but it's actually been a few weeks in real time. I've been away from the car for a little while as it's been up north getting some work done back at Potts Auto Shop. Once again, big shout out to Liam there. I bought a new manifold for it and a new turbo, new rear arms on the back, lower rear arms, and also headlight level sensor, wheel arch liners, just a bunch of the things that needed doing from those advisories and service. And Liam's been fitting them all very kindly. So we'll start with the spicy stuff. So under here we can see a lovely new tubular manifold in there, and also a new, used turbo underneath all that. After taking everything off, we realised how horrendously cracked that manifold was, and also the turbo housing itself. In addition to that, the headlight level sensor bracket had broken, and also the adjuster arm, the ball joints had gone. So I bought a new one of those, and that's been replaced. And then you might be able to see under there some lovely new hardline lower rear arms as well. There was a couple of extra little bits in there as well that needed sorting. There was a pipe to, I believe, the wastegate of the actuator, somewhere around there, that had split, so that got replaced. And quite alarmingly, there was also a bolt that was completely loose down somewhere near the gearbox as well, so that's obviously been tightened up. Now you may think that would be the end of the story there and the car was all sorted. Unfortunately, that wasn't quite the case. So after a couple of test drives, Liam flagged that it still didn't quite feel right. It was like spiking up as it came onto boost. And also he drove it for a couple of second, third gear, like very mild pulls. Popped the bonnet afterwards and the manifold was glowing red. Which is obviously not great. And with Liam, by his own admission, not being a specialist on Evos, we thought it was best to just send it to a local specialist called CPP Developments up north, so a big shout out to them as well, just so that hopefully they would be able to diagnose it just that little bit more quickly and obviously know what was wrong. So after a little bit of testing their end, they worked out that it was actually running really lean when it came onto boost. It was running fine as normal, but as soon as it came onto boost, the fueling was just not right at all, and it was running really lean. So what they've had to do is hardwire the fuel pump into the ECU, something along those lines. I'm not 100% sure what the technical wording of it is, but they put a hardwire kit onto the fuel system, which means that now it seems to run absolutely perfectly. So let's take it for a quick drive and see how it runs now. Before I get in, can we just appreciate how clean it is now? I had edge valeting work on the interior and exterior very briefly. The exterior's now got a little bit dirty as it has been driven since, but yeah, it desperately needed a clean. So all in the crevices. It looks lovely now. So driving it now, and I will preface this by just saying I've been driving a little 1.4 2010 Nissan Note as a daily in the meantime whilst this has been in repair. It's hard to obviously quantify a difference between the Evo then and the Evo now because that palate cleanser has been somewhat, shall we say, tepid. But instantly driving it, I'm sure I can feel the difference with these lower rear arms. It feels just that little bit more tight on the road and a little bit more collected than it was. And I didn't really notice it beforehand, but it had been flagged in the MOT that the bushes were getting a little bit worn, and obviously in the service they flagged it as well. So I thought it was time to get them done, and it genuinely has made a difference. And the other difference is the sound of the manifold now. It does sound that little bit different, which I guess is to be expected, but let's have a little listen now. It sounds great. And also, then the biggest thing that I noticed is it's rapid. I didn't really notice, obviously, I know you've been struggling under boost, but I thought maybe it wasn't too far off the actual power that it was running before. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 50 horsepower down or something, which for, let's say, a 360, 400 horsepower car, it's not a massive amount. I think it's been quite a lot down on power actually, and it goes like stink now. But I think in general, I'm just really happy that we finally managed to solve that issue, and it's an issue that I first noticed all the way back in the track day, which was my probably second or maybe first video on the car, I can't remember which. All the way back, yeah, a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago now. And just a reminder on that, that was when I was coming down the main straight at Donington. It felt almost like it was starved of fuel, and that's, I think, what I said at the time, that it feels like it's just not, it can't rev all the way out, and it was stuttering. And I noticed that when I filled it up with fuel, it seemed to go away, but then when it got down to 3/4 of a tank, it was doing it again. And so obviously now I know that that was it running lean under boost. You know, and that kind of makes sense, I guess, with my original diagnosis at the time, that it felt like it was struggling to get up there. What I didn't realise is that when a turbo car like this is running lean, it actually causes the manifold to get really, really hot, which you would have thought maybe because it's running lean and struggling that it would actually not be getting hot at all. But speaking to CPP developments, they said that actually the case is that the fuel itself actually helps to cool the manifold. So especially if it's running rich, you'll notice that the manifold won't get anywhere near hot enough. So the long and short of it is, the engine has probably been running a little bit lean for a while now. And so it was only initially noticeable on that track day, but it's been getting worse and worse and worse. The manifold has been getting hotter and hotter and hotter each time I've been driving. And then obviously it's then caused it to crack. Now, a cracking manifold is actually a very common thing on the Evos. I wonder if it's something to do with this whole running lean and the wiring not being particularly great. That was something the CPP had flagged. In general with Evo 10s, the wiring is not very good, and that's probably, there's been some sort of wiring issue that has caused this to then run lean. And then it's caused the manifold to crack. So I wonder if that's a common problem with it. But it wasn't just the manifold that was cracked, it was the turbo itself that was cracked, and the housing had cracked all the way around. The manifold itself was in a really poor condition as well. So all of that stuff needed changing anyway. And then obviously once we were able to solve those issues, it then became a case of solving the root cause of why that manifold had cracked, and that's what CPP developments were able to do. Some of you may recognise that we're driving around the Oakley Edge area at the moment. Now there's always car spotters on this roundabout here, so I'll give them a little bit of a blast past them, just to keep them happy. Tell you what, it's not going to get old, that. It really does fly. On that note, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. If you don't, then don't bother. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.